Istanbul is located in the northwest Marmara region of Turkey. It is on the Bosphorus Strait and encompasses the natural harbor known as the Golden Horn. The city is actually on two continents. The western portion of Istanbul is in Europe, while the eastern portion is in Asia. Perhaps that is the reason that throughout its long history, Istanbul has had a reputation for being a cultural and ethnic melting pot. The city is teeming with life day and night, and with enough yellow cabs to remind you of New York City. Surprisingly, the traffic manages to keep moving with help from an excellent public transportation system. The Roman aqueduct of Vidin stretches for almost a mile. It towers over nearby trees and dominates the area of shops and homes. It was built in the 4th century AD with the second tier added in the 6th century. It was in use for more than 1,500 years for transporting water to a cistern between the two hills. Istanbul is a cosmopolitan city with many luxury hotels. One of the best is the Ritz-Carlton. Taksim Square is one of the most known and modern of the city squares. Many hotels and restaurants are located on or near the square. Here there is a local bus terminal and the main subway station. You can find a different kind of Istanbul at every corner. Down East Street is another interesting spot, another chance to explore. The Independence Monument is a standout in Taksim Square. Flowers are everywhere, just part of the culture. There is a different kind of beauty included on Taksim Square. A shoe shine offers a fun experience and a chance to meet the locals. These self-professed shine experts take great pride in their elaborately decorated, readily movable stands. Istiklal pedestrian street is busy 24 hours a day. This is also the turnaround point for the old tram, the only vehicle permitted on Istiklal Street. There is a shop here for every need and a restaurant for most every taste. It is fascinating to watch the ladies rhythmically making the delicate wraps by hand. You can choose more American cuisine if you like. Take time to stop for a lunch or stroll and eat as you go, buying from the many street carts. In the evening, the street is every bit as busy. However, the pace is more relaxed and the ambiance delightful. As a result of its long and storied history, there are many historical palaces, mosques, churches, synagogues, and castles to visit in the city. One of the most famous sites is Hagia Sophia, a former Orthodox basilica, later a mosque, and now a museum. Its interior is decorated with mosaics and marble pillars. It was the largest cathedral in the world for nearly 1,000 years. Hagia Sophia is one of the greatest surviving examples of Byzantine architecture. Famous for its massive dome, it is said to have changed the history of architecture. The cathedral is always open and therefore has many visitors, including birds and a resident cat. The surrounding area is a labyrinth of streets and alleyways dotted with shops and cafes. You won't have to search to find a carpet bazaar. One of the largest and most reputable carpet stores is Naka's. Here is a chance to see the handmade carpets being created. Skilled workmanship, special techniques, lots of patience, and months of labor are at the root of the reputation which Turkish handmade carpets enjoy. Quality carpets can be made with pure silk, pure wool, or wool and cotton yarn combinations. To help you decide, they say to you, do not tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and we'll take it out. Now, there's not much not to like.
Now, may I have your attentions on the color combination? Angle. Did you see the color change? Now to these sides.
Carpets are made to walk on, so walk on them. The 6 slender minarets of the Sultan Ahmet Mosque, better known as the Blue Mosque, dominate the skyline of Istanbul. In the 17th century, Sultan Ahmet wished to build an Islamic place of worship that would be even better than Hagia Sophia, and the mosque name for him is the result. The name the Blue Mosque comes from the blue tiles inside. The high ceiling is lined with 20,000 tiles that give the mosque its popular name. The tiles feature flowers, trees, and abstract patterns. The interior is lit by 260 windows, many filled with stained glass. Construction work began in 1609 and took a mere 7 years to complete, often with the help of the Sultan. Outside the Blue Mosque and near the Hagia Sophia stands an impressive Egyptian obelisk. The obelisk was erected in Egypt by the pharaoh Thutmose in the year 1450 BC. It is known that a ship was built in the 4th century AD to carry the obelisk to Istanbul, but it is not known when the obelisk was brought to Constantinople. On the base there are scenes from the hippodrome and depictions showing the erection of the obelisk, but nothing of the journey. The underground cistern, also known as the Basilica Cistern, was an important source of water for the city during the Byzantine and Ottoman times. It was built in the 6th century and provided a water filtration system for the Great Palace of Constantinople. The roof is supported by 336 marble Corinthian columns, which lend an elegance to the eerie structure. Each column is 30 feet high. They are arranged in 12 forest-like rows, each 16 feet apart. Many are carved and engraved. The golden light is reflected in the water, adding color to the resident carp. It seems to add to the mystery of this huge structure. The cistern is 105,000 square feet in area, capable of holding 2,800,000 cubic feet of water. The Grand Bazaar is indeed grand. It is one of the world's most exciting shopping experiences. It is one of the largest and oldest covered markets in the world, with more than 58 covered streets and 4,000 shops. Opened in 1461, it's known for its jewelry, spice, pottery, and carpet shops. Each building is an adventure in architecture and decor, as well as a plethora of goods. You can find designer knockoffs and, not far away, handicrafts or antiques. There are even small cafes to sit for a while and enjoy some Turkish tea. Many of the stalls in the bazaar are grouped by the type of goods, each with its own special area. There are sections for leather coats, gold jewelry, silk scarves, ceramics, and those items you never knew you couldn't do without. These men seem to have found what we call husband chairs and are leaving the shopping bustle behind. The water pipe cools the smoke for the tobacco while making a soothing, bubbling sound, which they say is very comforting. A couple of courtyard areas provide fresh air and sunshine along with the shopping, and this one leads to one of the main gates of the bazaar. Backgammon is a nice break from a long day at a bazaar stall. Just when you think you have found another exotic food to sample, you are reminded that it is indeed a small, small world. These walnuts are from Chico, California. Yes, I know it says almonds on the package, but these are walnuts. An automobile is a handy place to wash and dry your carpet. Sleek trams crisscross the city with modern speed. However, don't miss a chance to step back in time to a slower-paced elegance. The Orient Express is situated in Istanbul's old city area. The original Orient Express was launched in 1883. Departing Paris, it steamed through the Alps and on to Constantinople. The legendary train carried kings, celebrities, and the elite in grand style between the great European cities. Its last service as a regular passenger train was in 1977. Currently, the classic Orient Express departs just once a year, though other routes do run from March to November. Istanbul's tram system is dependable and covers the city well. There are 3 separate systems with 5 tram lines and 2 heritage trams. Sometimes street vendors do more than sell. They entertain. This young man has gathered quite an audience as he playfully serves up ice cream for his patrons. On a warm summer afternoon, it's the perfect treat. Yufkar, the Turkish name for phyllo dough. It is a thin, round, and unleavened Turkish flatbread, about 18 inches in diameter. The dough pieces are rounded and rolled into a circular sheet. The sheets of yufkar dough are baked on a heated iron plate for about 2 minutes. This is ready for a filling of cheese, parsley, or add some vegetables or meat. It's your choice. At night, when the lights blink on along the Bosphorus, there's Oriental dancing and entertainment, as fascinating as anywhere in the world. Tonight brings a chance to see the whirling dervish. Musicians began playing and chanting classical Turkish music, using traditional drums and stringed instruments. In a tradition dating to the 13th century, the monks of the mystical Sufi order of Muslims, known traditionally for their spirituality, self-denial, and tolerance, performed their dance ritual. Topkapi Palace was home to all the Ottoman sultans until the 19th century, a period of nearly 4 centuries. The construction of Topkapi Palace began after the conquest of Constantinople in 1453. The first palace was enclosed with fortified walls over 1,500 yards in length. There were originally around 700 to 800 residents of the palace, but during the centuries it increased to 5,000 during normal working days. The palace grew steadily to form a city-like complex of buildings and annexes and became the largest palace in the world, a city within a city. During the 400 years of Topkapi, each sultan added a different section or hall to the palace, depending on his taste. The harem, literally meaning forbidden in Arabic, was a complex of apartments in the palace belonging to the wives and children of the sultan. Topkapi Palace enjoys a breathtaking view on Saraglio Point, overlooking both the Marmara and Bosphorus. The port of Istanbul is the most important one in the country. 2 suspension bridges stretch across the Bosphorus in this area. The old port on the Golden Horn serves primarily for personal navigation, while the port of Galata is used by the large cruise liners. There are regular services as well as cruises from both sides of the city to several port cities in the Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea. Sea transport is vital for Istanbul. The Sea of Marmara, the Golden Horn, the Bosphorus, and the Black Sea surround it. Locals live on the Asian side of the city, but work on the European side, or vice versa. The city's famous commuter ferries form the backbone of the daily transition between the 2 parts of the city. This even more so than the 2 suspension bridges that span the Bosphorus. Along the docks of this very busy area, there seems to be good fishing. If you don't choose to catch your own, you can find a cart selling delicacies fresh from the sea. There's also roasted corn and other treats. My suggestion is to try the local favorite, balek ekmek, literally fish and bread. It is a fish sandwich with tomatoes and onion. The small fish is fried or grilled on these small rocking boats. Don't ask me how they do it all without burning themselves. Each boat looked like they had the same ingredients, the same fish, the same bread, and the same rocking motion, yet each claimed to be the very best. We certainly agree. What we had was very good. The best way to see the Bosphorus in all its beauty is to take a boat trip. This is the strategic waterway connecting the Black Sea to the Mediterranean and dividing Istanbul into 2 continents. One of the many beauties is the diverse and fascinating range of shipping plying the Bosporus Straits. Small fishing vessels, pleasure boats, and ferries join oil tankers and container ships. Some are making the journey from the Mediterranean to the Black Sea, through the Aegean Sea to the narrow channel of the Dardanelles, across the Marmara Sea, and then once more heading north through the narrows of the Bosporus before reaching the Black Sea. Traveling north on the Bosporus is a fantastic way of checking out some of the monuments and mansions of Istanbul. We can relax and admire the shoreline of beautiful homes, mosques, Ottoman summer mansions, lavish palaces, and decadent villas. Aboard for the trip is a school group of young ladies. We were a little concerned that they would withdraw a bit and be wary of us, but not so. They were quite relaxed, talkative, and delightful to be with. As the boat zigzags between Asia and Europe, you can admire the old Ottoman wooden houses, 6 Ottoman palaces, 2 suspended bridges, and also medieval castles. The idea of a bridge crossing the Bosphorus dates back to antiquity. The first bridge linking the two sides of the Bosphorus was engineered as a pontoon bridge by the Persian Emperor Darius in 490 BC. With a deck width of 128 feet for 8 lanes of traffic, the clearance of the bridge from sea level is 210 feet. Jason and his Argonauts once sailed through this very stretch of water in his search for the Golden Fleece. Today, thousands of tourists on cruise liners make a similar journey in search of adventure, discovery, and relaxation. The Turkish National Military Museum is a visit well worth the time. It displays 1,000 years of the military's historic tradition. The Ottoman Empire was the first to use musicians in military campaigns. A young future Pasha invites us to go with him to enjoy the Janissary Band. It is the world's oldest military band and gives concerts in traditional uniforms. You'll see all of this and more on an AmaWaterways river cruise.